This is ABC 7 News at 6.
It's coming from someone not on scene. Said her boyfriend or husband is having a schizophrenic episode and has assaulted her with a knife.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. We have a developing situation that allegedly started in the Old Town Orono area, and there is a search unfolding on Poplar Road. Our Callie Warren is there live now. Callie, what can you tell us?
Well, Beth, I'm here on Poplar Street in Old Town. Now, this road leads all the way down to Pushaw Lake, and police officers are currently sitting at a residence just a little bit under a mile and a half from where I'm currently standing. Officials from the Old Town Police Department, with assistance from Maine State Police, have been leading a search attempting to find someone that is believed to be associated with a stabbing. Like you said, Beth, information is so limited right now. It's a very developing situation. We do know that police have blocked off part of Stillwater Avenue between Orono and Bangor. That is where they're believed to be searching for this suspect. There are also officers that are lined up on I-95 southbound in the Orono and VZ area in connection with the search. Our chief photographer was on scene earlier and was able to see a helicopter circling around in that area as well, which is some of the video that you're seeing. I also spoke with the neighbor of that residence on Poplar Street, and she said that there have been officers present since around 11:30 this morning. This story remains very much developing. That's all the information that we have for right now, but we'll continue to bring you more when it becomes available. For now, Beth, back to you.
Callie, thank you so much for those details. Meanwhile, police are investigating a fatal crash in Augusta this morning. Augusta Police Chief Kevin Lully says just before 6 o'clock, officers responded to the area of Route 3 and the West River Road for reports of a two-vehicle crash. Lully says they came upon the scene and found a Kenworth T880 commercial vehicle driven by 29-year-old Christopher Armstrong of Washington, Maine, and a Toyota Camry driven by 29-year-old Cameron LaFleche of Winslow. LaFleche was pronounced dead at the scene. Both the Augusta Police Department and Maine State Police are investigating, and if you have any information about that crash, they ask you to contact the Augusta Police Department. A suspect in a Bangor stabbing has been indicted for attempted murder. 37-year-old Abel Perez of Bangor was also indicted on several other charges, including elevated aggravated assault and theft by unauthorized taking. Just before midnight on June 20th, police were called to a residence on Essex Street for an assault using a knife. A spokesperson says officers found a victim with critical injuries that had been stabbed. Perez was identified as the suspect, but he had fled the scene. He was arrested in New York 2 days later. The grand jury indicted a man on numerous charges in connection with a shooting on a Bangor trail. 38-year-old Justin Grover of Bangor was arrested after a man with several gunshot wounds told officers he had been approached on the trail and shot by an unknown assailant that had fled. The grand jury indicted Grover on elevated aggravated assault, unlawful possession of drugs, and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. And finally, 2 people arrested after allegedly entering a man's home in Bangor and assaulting him with a baseball bat were also indicted. 28-year-old Serena Bosher of Bangor and 26-year-old Bradley Dean of Brewer allegedly went to the man's home to get information about their friend's stolen vehicle. They were both indicted for burglary, assault, and aggravated criminal trespass. In other news tonight, Canada has removed seafood and fish products from its retaliatory tariff list. According to a statement from the Canadian Finance Department, their decision late last night was based on, quote, feedback and to protect against broader economic harms. Removing the 25% tariff is welcome news to the Maine Lobstermen's Association, who says it would have put downward pressure on an industry already operating on thin margins. Its executive director, Patrice McCarron, said in a statement in part, quote, we appreciate Canada's decision to listen to the concerns raised by the seafood industry and remove seafood from these tariffs. We urge both governments to continue protecting the long-standing tariff-free trade in lobster that benefits fishermen, businesses, and coastal communities throughout North America, end quote. Canada's retaliatory tariffs are expected to go into effect on September 8th. Well, a bridge in Millinocket was dedicated to a fallen Maine State Police detective who died in the line of duty. Our Sam Miller has the story.
At 10 a.m. Thursday, a ceremony at the intersection of Route 11 and North Twin Dam Road in Millinocket officially dedicated a bridge to the late Ben Campbell, a Maine State Police detective who was killed in 2019 when he was struck by a wheel that detached from a passing logging truck. Senator Susan Collins, as well as police officers, friends, and family, all came to pay their respects to an officer who embodied the term service before self.
He was a hero not because of the way that his life ended, but because of his commitment to our safety each and every day.
After Campbell's passing, the Maine State Legislature voted unanimously to name the bridge in his honor. Colonel William Ross, Chief of Maine State Police, hopes that those who drive across will gain a better understanding of what it means to serve.
When all of us go out, law enforcement, first responders go out, and they're there to serve and protect the public. And some of us end up making the ultimate sacrifice with their lives, and that's what Ben did.
Campbell's colleagues describe him as a model officer with a positive attitude and say they can't think of a better way to keep his memory alive.
Just a great reminder for anyone driving past here, to always remember him. Of course, people that know him and worked with him will never forget him, but so that everyone else since then can also memorialize him also.
He was just a good guy, a solid trooper, did really well. I'd seen a lot in his short career. He'd done a lot, got promoted early to detective.
The newly dedicated bridge now stands as a memorial to Ben Campbell, a steadfast detective and loving father and husband. In Millinocket, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A Maine defense technology company cut the ribbon on a new facility in Old Town today that will give them the space and materials to test combat and defense software. Turbine One is a defense technology company that creates machine learning algorithms and other software so that warfighters can figure out how to find their targets or defend themselves against attacks. A lot of that work is related to drones. Now, the facility they cut the ribbon on today, will be used to build inexpensive drones and other equipment that will allow them to test the software they formulate, but not destroy expensive equipment during that testing process.
The typical drones, they run anywhere from $6,000 upwards of much more. And that kind of stuff, you can't take the chance that it's going to crash or destroy it just because you'd want it to. So we've actually made it so that you can get it down to, say, $50 around much cheaper materials, particularly around wood and maybe, as we're finding, wood pulp.
Amaker says they hope to be able to make, sell, and ship packs of the low-cost drones to their defense sector customers. He also said technology currently under development at the University of Maine Composite Lab might enable them to use even cheaper materials in the future to bring the tester drone price point down even more. In other news tonight, a daycare in Trenton has been shut down for 9 days due to a DHHS order, something the owner claims is in retaliation for her reports against the department. The Maine Department of Health and Human Services has issued a 10-day suspension to Tiny Tykes in Trenton. According to the department, daycare workers were missing background checks, CPR and first aid certifications, and child care provider forms. Additionally, DHHS claims that 6 of the 16 children on site at the time of the inspection did not have documents permitting emergency medical treatment. 9 days into the order, gubernatorial candidate Bobby Charles came by the daycare to listen to parents, workers, and owner Betsy Grant share their stories. During the conversation, Grant said that the order was unjust and she did not want to go on camera, but she says the DHHS is retaliating against her due to reports she made about neglect in the department. In 2025, she filed a lawsuit claiming the same.
I guess I was just shocked by the series of allegations that have begun to pile up around DHHS, and in particular around how they have apparently retaliated in many ways against providers of child care.
Out to the Department of Health and Human Services for comment and left a message with our request. They did not respond. DHHS advised Grant to hire qualified and vetted workers at that time or close the facility till her current staff can get the proper paperwork. Well, continuing our coverage of Penquist, Motive Care, and non-emergency transportation services for Maine Care members, the nonprofit has been awarded an extension to manage its services for those members. Our Doug Banks has the latest.
Penquist CAP has provided transportation services for over 40 years, serving
anywhere from 5,000 to 6,000 a month of unique individuals that we transport.
It's really a convenience. It's been a great service. I think they're angels. I'm lucky to have them.
Those rides can range from medical and vet appointments to birthday dinners and grocery shopping. For the last 13 years, the nonprofit has provided non-emergency transportation services for Maine Care members in Penobscot and Piscataquis counties. But in 2023, Colorado-based Motive Care was awarded a 10-year, $750 million contract by Maine DHHS, effectively making them the statewide provider of those services. Penquist appealed that decision based on a lack of public input and transparency. Despite their efforts, Maine's highest court affirmed the state's 2023 decision. Penquist's operating contract was originally up at the end of the year, but Maine DHHS has since extended it to June 30th.
Of 2027. That means that everyone that utilizes that service can still reach out to Penquist and schedule in the same way through that period of time.
Motive Care will step in as a broker for the program. A senior VP of the company told us they intend to work alongside Penquist to provide the service.
We'll definitely come to the table and be interested to see if we can make a partnership work to ensure that Mainers are getting where they need to go in a reliable, safe way.
In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And for further information for Maine Care members utilizing Penquist Transportation Services, you can go to our website, foxbangor.com. Alrighty, folks, let's pause now and turn things over for a first look at our forecast.
Thank you very much. Your first weather today is brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes, now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote at 207-263-3421. All right, as we saw for those highs today, low 80s here in Bangor. Yes, a little bit of a sea breeze again, keeping you a bit cooler here in Rockland and Bar Harbor. Low to mid 70s for you. A few 80s that reach further north, Millinocket, Holton, and Presque Isle. Same for Clayton Lake in the low 80s today, while Greenville sitting there in the mid 70s. But otherwise, we do have a few storms making their way into the western portion of the state. They're going to stay there. We're not really going to see the chance for a few thunderstorms tonight. There can be an isolated storm or two, but otherwise pretty dry overnight, still with cloudy skies. As we head into tomorrow, a few storms may start off early in the very eastern portion of the state, but here's our cold front tomorrow, making its way into the Bangor region, providing us with some beneficial rainfall and, of course, chances for thunderstorms that may be strong for your Friday afternoon. So overnight tonight, a storm or two is possible, but otherwise dry, mostly cloudy skies, some breezy winds still from the south, and warm lows hanging out in the mid-60s.
Thank you, Chase. And coming up on ABC 7 News at 6, we have more of your local news.
Here are the facts about Susan Collins and Medicaid. Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts.
Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance the bill.
Now, thousands more Mainers are expected to lose their Medicaid coverage. Hospitals and clinics are shutting down, all to give massive tax breaks for billionaires. Look up the facts yourself and tell Susan Collins to stop voting for Trump's healthcare cuts.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular Infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
When outdoors, some people like it hot and some people like it cold. However, when indoors, most people like it comfortably warm. Consider a Rinnai direct vent wall furnace from McCusick Petroleum Company to provide you with comfortable and efficient heat. They also offer sales and service on many brands of furnaces, boilers, and water heaters. McCusick Petroleum Company delivers oil and LP gas to homes and businesses throughout the Penquist region. If you'd like more information on pricing or service, call or stop by our office in Dover Foxcroft.
I was a teacher in Aroostook County for 40+ years, and I loved it.
But federal law prevented retired Maine teachers, law enforcement, and firefighters from receiving the full Social Security benefits they earned. Susan Collins fought for them and passed the Social Security Fairness Act.
My retirement almost tripled What she did benefited over 25,000 Maine retirees. Thank you, Susan.
I'm Susan Collins, and I've approved this message.
On the pavement, Sunday, October 4th at the Sea Dog on the Bangor waterfront. Register now at purpleirisfoundation.com or scan the QR code. Start a fundraiser, win prizes. Sign up by September 1st and get a free t-shirt. Goodie bags for the first 200 people to register. Cancer survivors sign up for free. Proceeds support those battling cancer in Maine. Pound the Pavement, sponsored by the Sea Dog, Summit America, Peter and Deb Braun, Eventful Maine, ABC7, and Fox 22.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
As students flood back to Maine college campuses, business owners say another back-to-school trend is making its way through the door: fake IDs. Our Alex Schley has more on what businesses are doing to crack down.
You'll definitely see a bit of an uptick.
According to the National Institute of Health, Orientation Week and the first week of classes, also known as Syllabus Week, are among the heaviest periods for alcohol consumption during the academic year. And for underage students looking to join in, that can mean attempting to use a fake ID.
At the beginning of the year, you'll find some similarities between them, I guess. So you'll start to know after a couple what to look for.
Maxon says while fake ID production has gotten more advanced, there are certainly tells, so vendors are educating staff on those tells and how to detect them.
As different states do different things and change, like just like we have in Maine with all the different holograms and whatnot. So.
And leaders have one thing to say to students looking to use a fake ID this semester.
Good luck. I mean, the staff's pretty good.
Any fake IDs that are seized are turned over to law enforcement. Officials also remind students that using a fake ID can lead to criminal charges. In Orono, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Folks, sports is next. Stay with us.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
30 years living in Washington changes someone. I feel like politicians should be working for us, not getting rich from stock trading. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins wants to keep it so that senators can play the stock market, making millions of dollars. While the rest of the state is struggling, it's just wrong. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop the congressional stock trading.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Starting in May 2026, Maine Paid Family and Medical Leave gives eligible workers up to 12 weeks to take the time needed for parental and family care, medical, military family, and safe leave. With partial wage replacement, your income stays protected, giving you peace of mind. Leave is flexible, portable, and available to self-employed Mainers who elect coverage. Maine Paid Family and Medical Leave. It's how we care. It's who we are. Benefits begin May 2026. Learn more at maine.gov/paid leave.
Half-off deals are waiting for you at foxbangor.com. Click on half-off deals and see how much you can save only at foxbangor.com.
Welcome back in, folks. The Maine Black Bears begin the Division I college football season on Thursday with their game versus Towson University. This season is different for the Black Bears for a couple of reasons. First, their opening game will be played against a conference opponent And Townsend University finished the 2025 season 7th in the CAA conference with a 6-6 record. But head coach Jordan Stevens says that they are a very talented team and they present a challenge for Maine on Thursday.
I mean, first of all, their quarterback is very good. True freshman quarterback last year, a guy who's returning and able to make every throw on the field. You know, the other piece with them is just well coached. If you look at like their penalties, their turnover margin, each of the last 3 years when their head coach has been there, it's been, you know, they've been excellent in those areas.
Another difference for the Black Bears, their quarterback, redshirt sophomore Eddie Bueller, will get his first D1 start on Thursday night. He stated earlier this week that he knows what to expect from Townsend, and defensive lineman Kai Presley says that if the team stays focused on their game, they will get the job done.
I would say they fire on the ball. They try to knock the ball out. Got to have good ball security. They switch. It seems like they're going to switch between 3 down, 4 down. Just got to be ready for whatever. Just do our job. Know what we have to do to execute.
They got a pretty good O-line, pretty solid running back room, pretty good QB. Got some all-conference recognition. So we just staying in our process, just trying to do the best we can, and just try to cage the guy and just do what we can do.
That game just got underway. We'll have those highlights for you tonight. To the NFL now, the Patriots play their final preseason game versus the Cleveland Browns, and the game will air locally on Prime Video tonight at 8 p.m. It is likely that we will not see most of the starters tonight, so once again, no Drake May, no A.J. Brown, or guys of that caliber. As for the Browns, will we see Deshaun Watson step in? Not too sure about that as he was named the starter, so it may be Shedeur Sanders getting the nod once again, and the game will be televised locally and on Prime. We'll have those highlights for you later tonight as well. For right now, that is all the time we have for sports. Here is your weather.
Thank you very much. A few clouds working their way in, but still warm across the state for today with low 80s here in Bangor. Yes, a sea breeze keeping you in the low to mid 70s in Rockland and Bar Harbor for today, but still some low 80s further down to the southwestern portion of the state, and they even made their way up north for today. Millinocket, Holton, Presque Isle, Clayton Lake, all right around the low 80s for today with Greenville sitting at 76 degrees. For tonight, a lot of us are going to stay warm. We're looking at mid 60s here in the Bangor and coastal areas, even further north as well. The cool spots look to be further off to the west, possibility of upper 50s and low 60s for you, but still many of us seeing a warm night tonight. Into tomorrow, cloud cover is going to be a problem. Now you can see here we have a nice warm up in Bangor. I got our highs right around the mid to upper 70s because I think some thunderstorms are going to pass towards the eastern portion of the state and throw some cloud cover our way for tomorrow, which should lessen the severe threat for storms tomorrow. But this is a possibility as well. If we see sunny skies throughout the morning tomorrow, it can warm up into those 80s, giving us a chance for some severe weather possibly for tomorrow afternoon. So we'll break that all down here in a little bit, but here's your temperature trend throughout the week. Average highs at 78 degrees, pretty close to that tomorrow into your Saturday, a little bit above it for Sunday, but we actually see a little bit of a cool down on the way into next week. Monday, mid 70s, same for Tuesday, then low to mid 70s for Wednesday into Thursday. So out there wind wise, we do have a little bit of breeze for today, keeping you cooler here along your coastline, but otherwise tomorrow, still a south wind ahead of the front. You're going to get your northwest winds behind the front. So looks like more of the wind's going to be behind the front for tomorrow. Pretty light and variable conditions. Maybe winds gusting up to 15, maybe 20 miles per hour in front of the cold front, but you're going to feel more of the wind behind it tomorrow. That'll come into the Bangor area right around the 6 to 8 p.m. time frame. After that front passes through, we're expecting the storms right around 4 to 6 o'clock. So again, for tonight, maybe a storm or two out there, but this model keeps us dry. A few others show maybe a storm or two passing through the northern and central portions of the states, but again, pretty dry conditions overnight, still cloudy, some areas of dense fog possible. Now here's the front for tomorrow. Now it doesn't look like much on this radar. If we do get the sunshine, if we do charge up the atmosphere, there is a chance for some of these storms to become strong to severe, producing damaging winds and some hail as well. But if we keep the cloud cover throughout the day and some slightly cooler temperatures, there won't be as much energy to produce that severe threat for these storms. So keep that in mind as we go throughout tomorrow. If you see a lot of sunshine early on, those storms can be strong later in the day. As you go into your weekend though, Saturday, we're going to kick it off the weekend with some much better conditions, plenty of sunshine, lighter winds. You get the idea. It's going to be not as stormy to start off the weekend for many of us. So for tonight, it's going to be a warm night out there. We got lows in the mid 60s. There can be a few storms, otherwise dry with cloudy skies and south winds still a little breezy, gusting near 20 miles per hour. We'll keep that southwest going, or the south wind going in front of the front, but once that front hits right around 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms will be in the area with highs more than likely to be in the mid to upper 70s if we get a bit of cloud cover early on. So extended forecast shows upper 70s with sunshine Saturday, but there is a chance for more storms to return Sunday. Highs will be near 80 then. We'll feel the effects of the cold front Monday, mid 70s with sunshine, and a slight chance for storms does exist into your Tuesday, otherwise dry with temperatures still in the mid 70s.
Thank you, Chase. And there is still more to come after the break.
Maine's schools used to be among the best, but under Troy Jackson's failed leadership in Augusta, our high schools dropped to dead last. While Maine education collapsed under Jackson, electricity rates skyrocketed and housing costs doubled. Now, dark money PACs spend millions to prop up Troy Jackson and lie about Susan Collins. But Maine can beat their lies by telling the truth.
I'm Susan Collins, and I've approved this message. Join my team and give today.
Make this the summer event at Thornton Brothers in Lincoln. Looking for a truck built to go the distance? Drive home a new Ram truck backed by an available 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Ready for adventure? Check out our selection of new Jeep Gladiators and Wranglers, built for wherever the road or trail takes you. Need room for the whole family? We've got a great selection of new Chrysler Pacifica vans, packed with comfort, versatility, and style. This summer, make the drive, we'll make the deal. Visit Thornton Brothers in Lincoln today.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
It looked like another government shutdown that would cut Maine families off the programs they need. But Senator Susan Collins led the fight to keep government open, bridging the divide between Republicans and Democrats, and protecting federal funding and critical family services to help children and mothers in need. Senator Collins' bipartisan leadership makes a difference. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep government working for Maine families.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. Absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Finally tonight, more than 30 EMS professionals were recognized in Augusta today. Our Grace Blanchard has the story.
EMS clinicians, partners, and organizations were honored at the State House Thursday for their dedication to Maine's communities.
I didn't think UVAC would ever get recognized for something like this, but I think it goes to show the hard work that we do, because we don't get paid for what we do. We truly just have passion and we love what we do, and we don't need anything for it, but this is just, it's amazing.
This year's celebration marks the 36th anniversary of the Maine EMS Awards.
In Maine, we have more than 280 individual EMS services. And that consists of individuals that may be your neighbors, your loved ones, and they are there to respond on a minute's notice.
However, EMS leaders say low funding and staffing levels are straining the industry.
Anyone in the state expect when they dial 911, they're going to get an ambulance. And we try as hard as we can to do that and make that happen, but it's not always the case.
Sears says that's why there's a strong push to fund EMS education and training, so the next generation can answer the call.
Really, it starts with the education. So if we could support them in the training and education and really mentor them and get them into the workforce, that's going to help everybody.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And we are grateful for those who answer that call. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at ABC 7 News, take care and have a great rest of your night. Join us over on Fox 22 News tonight at 6:30 for more.
tonight, the Caterpillar.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
My opinion's the only one that counts.
I think we should teach kids a lesson if they vandalize someone's house.
Oh, I definitely learned my lesson, for sure.
That maybe you should take responsibility over damages that you do to someone's house.
I, from the beginning, wanted to take responsibility because...
And they need to take responsibility, and she didn't.
I'm taking responsibility, which is what I had hoped to do.
He offered at first a couple $100, and that was it, and then he actually reneged on that deal.
We offered her $250 and $300. We went to mediation, and we offered her $500 on the spot.
It wrecked the front of my door. It wrecked the siding around the door.
To take care of this so they could put the door back in the condition it was in.
And I have to repaint the whole porch.
The whole thing, adding siding, all the other damages, she never talked about that till she took it to court.
This is Fox 22 News Tonight.
It's coming from someone not on scene. Said her boyfriend or husband is having a schizophrenic episode and has assaulted her with a knife.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Beth Jones. We have a developing situation that allegedly started in the Old Town Orono area, and there is a search unfolding in the vicinity of Poplar Road. Our Callie Warren is there now live. Callie, what can you tell us?
Yep, Beth, I'm here at the beginning of Poplar Street in Old Town. It leads all the way down to Pushaw Lake, and at a residence that is just a little under 1.5 miles up the street from me here, there are several Old Town police officers sitting there. We can hear a helicopter going overhead here. Officials from the Old Town Police Department with assistance from Maine State Police have